Welcome to Mainland Regional News. I'm Graham O'Brien. Coming up in today's bulletin, 1080 warning to trout fishers, independent tourism event has been launched, upcoming dog's brekkie and educational treat, lock up your bike or lose it, Waimarama Sanctuary kicks off their post-planting operation, police sting nabs 2 operators. Department of Conservation has put out a warning where anglers have been advised not to eat trout in 1080 areas, with the fishing season opening in just a few days on October 1st. In response to publicly expressed concerns by New Zealand Federation of Freshwater Anglers and supported by Fish and Game New Zealand, DOC commissioned research by independent Cawthron Research Institute on risks of mice carrying sublethal levels of 1080 and which are routinely consumed by trout, becoming a safety risk for humans. Chief Executive of Fish and Game New Zealand, Bryce Johnson, said that the results indicated 1080 levels in trout flesh were significantly in excess of recognised food safety guidelines for safe human health, and DOC is now having to advise anglers not to eat trout caught in 1080 poisoned catchments until advised otherwise. A massive poisoning operation being conducted by DOC is in response to the anticipated mouse plague caused by the cyclic production of beech seeds in native forests, for which this year is a high point. Currently, as we stated in our news last week, Kahurangi is an area which is undergoing a 1080 drop as part of the Battle for Our Birds program. DOC has now also begun its Battle for Our Birds pest control in Maruia Valley from Monday this week in an area near Lewis Pass to also protect native wildlife from rat and stoat plagues. DOC said that August monitoring in the areas showed rat levels nearly doubled in between May and August from 37% to 67%, with preliminary estimates indicating rat densities of at least 6 to 9 rats per hectare in the Maruia Valley pest control area in August, which equates to 1/2 to 3/4 of a million rats. These numbers are predicted to increase and could reach up to 20 rats per hectare by November if not stopped with pest control. However, Forest and Bird spokesman Mr. Johnson said that anglers fishing backcountry waters, including overseas anglers who come here because of the trout's fishery's international reputation, have always been able to assume that it is totally safe to catch a trout and eat it. Sadly, this turns that over and is not a good look for New Zealand's 100% pure environmental brand. He said that while his organisation understands why DOC is doing this, the findings from this recent research has added a very significant and concerning new dimension to the 1080 debate. He also said that while he realises the timing so close to the season opening is unfortunate, and his organisation has been left with no choice but to support this advisory from DOC, and adds that further research to more closely simulate the natural wild environment is needed to provide a more accurate picture of the risks. Fish and Game, he said, are not saying don't go fishing in the backcountry, just don't eat the fish. Meanwhile, New Zealand First has quickly come out saying that the government's steadfast refusal to put a moratorium on 1080 needs a rethink for the sake of New Zealand's world-renowned reputation as a trout fishery. Winston Peters has said that the revelation that 1080 is making trout unsafe to eat will not be a message fishing tourists will want to hear. A first stage launch event of a new initiative took place in Motueka on Friday. The aim of the event was to bring a collaborative approach to ways of building a local presence to promote the region to domestic and international markets. The event was designed to bring together smaller companies and individuals to work on a level playing field in promotion and support of the tourism and event industry and local community. 32 people turned up for Friday's event, which also in part to provide support and look at future training and working alongside other membership businesses. Lynette Salisbury was there for Mainland and spoke with organiser Terry Yvette of the Dream Maker and others who were involved.
Tell me, what does TENS stand for?
The Tourism and Events Association New Zealand.
What's your long-term vision for TENS?
The long-term vision is to really get everybody excited about the tourism and events industry within our region, and as a community back it up, because we recognise that the community is really important to our successes.
And is there anything else you'd like people to know?
I just want everybody to realise that our team, who you can meet on our new website, which is the www.teens.co.nz, have donated their time, their energy, their expertise to make this happen. And it's about feeling good, it's about giving back to the community, and we really want the community to come on board and join in and talk about us, smile, talk about us, and get that feel-good feeling getting out there in the world so people want to come here on holiday.
I'm talking with Johnny O'Donnell. Johnny, what part do you play in the Tourism and Events Association of New Zealand?
So I run a business called Pathways to Success, which is a training and coaching company helping small to medium businesses with their online marketing needs. So what I'm really hoping to assist the members of Teens with is developing effective online presences that tell their story to the world and attract more people to the region.
I'm speaking with Sue Jepson from OnZMAP. Sue, what are the benefits for members of Teens?
I'd say the greatest benefit, Lynette, is that people who are members of Teens will know that they are working with a bunch of high calibre, committed, passionate people who want to present the best of this region. There will be opportunities for collaboration, and that is really, really important. There will be opportunities to learn about social media. There will be opportunities to learn about how to collaborate using social media. That is something I've experienced recently in promoting the Gigatown Nelson campaign. We had people all around the country contributing to an international prize that helped us get into 5th place in the competition. So the power of a group of passionate people will take this region a long, long way. If it's one voice on its own, it gets lost in the wilderness. But a bunch of loud, passionate voices will be heard for miles.
What is the calibre of people you're getting involved here?
It's important that Teens has a very high calibre of membership, and one of the prerequisites is definitely that people are passionate about the region, passionate about New Zealand, are passionate about what they offer visitors to the region. So I would say with passion comes commitment to offering good quality experiences. That doesn't mean to say that we necessarily want to just offer corporate experiences. We want to offer what is unique and quirky about New Zealand, what is authentic, and we believe that that is a lot to do with what people come to New Zealand for, and that's definitely what we want to offer.
Controlled alcohol purchase operations involving 16-year-old volunteers have shown up holes in the sales system of 2 local licence outlets. Council licensing inspectors and public health check 34 premises across the Nelson Tasman region, and out of these, 2 sold alcohol to the 16-year-olds. The Liquid Bar and the Edify Foursquare have both been referred to the Alcohol Regulatory and Licensing Authority for suspension action as a result. Operations have also been run to see whether licensed premises were meeting their obligations to provide food when serving alcohol. 15 premises were checked and 3 were found to have insufficient food and received a warning, while a further 3 premises had no food available, and all 3 received infringement notices for failing to supply food. Nelson Bay's Alcohol Harm Reduction Sergeant Steve Savage said lax staff practices seem to be behind the issue, with some of the premises having food in a fridge or freezer, but staff failing to make it available to the patrons. Enforcement action is also being taken against Odyssey Bar after an incident on the 4th of September in which patrons of the bar were involved in fights and also throwing bottles and glasses from the smoking area onto the street. Sergeant Savage said the incident was at the more serious end and that would be reflected in the length of suspension sought. He said that they would expect a manager to intervene and call police in such a situation like this, as bar managers are required to actively monitor the behaviour of their patrons. He said that it had been a long time since police have had 100% compliance, and that is what they are aiming for. He said further controlled purchase operations were planned and reminded licence holders that in checking the age of patrons, they were required to cite their identification, because simply asking someone if they are 18 is not good enough. Lock up your bike is the warning Nelson Police are telling the public to get them to take extra care after a spike in reported thefts of bicycles. In recent weeks, a number of bikes have been taken from driveways, carports and garages. Bikes have also been reported stolen off racks on the back of cars. Thefts have predominantly been reported in the Atawhai and Wood areas. However, thefts have occurred across the Nelson region in Richmond and Motueka. Constable Glenn Cunningham of Nelson Police recommended people take extra precaution and lock up bikes even at home. The reports police have been getting suggest these thieves are not daunted by entering private property to steal bikes. He encouraged people to record the serial number on their bike and to report any stolen property promptly. A dog's breakfast takes on a whole new meaning in Motueka. Department of Conservation, Tasman District Council and Birds New Zealand will be providing a bit of brekkie for dogs and their owners at the Coomera's car park on Saturday. This event is designed to inform and educate people on the fascinating facts about birds of the Motueka foreshore and sandspit. DOC's Motueka Conservation Service Manager Mark Townsend said that Motueka sandspit area is the second most significant shorebird site in Tasman after Farewell Spit, and one of 8 internationally important sites in the district. Organisers want to encourage the use of this area as a shared space for people, dogs and birds, and how they can enjoy the area without conflict. Coomera's car park is at the seaward end of Staple Street in Motueka for those interested in attending this coming Saturday the 4th of October. After more than 12 years, the Waimarama Sanctuary is up and ready to take flight, with the official opening on Saturday, and even the weather turned out its best for the morning ceremony. Over 200 people celebrated the final step in the process of fundraising, and the first fence post was placed by officials and school children. Part of the ceremony involved Waimarama's Hudson Dodd signing a contract to install the 7,000 posts that will be needed to encircle the sanctuary. I went along and talked with Hudson and others at the event about their feelings on the day.
The community really turned out in full force for it. There were about 300 people here today to mark the occasion that this milestone represents of moving forward with construction of the pest-proof fence here at the Brook Waimarama Sanctuary that we've been planning for 12 years now and finally delivering. And by God, over 300 people a year have been volunteering for this project, literally pouring their blood, sweat and tears into it to make it happen. And today's a day for all the community, all those volunteers, all the trustees, all the people who've supported the project financially, all the funders across the region and across the country. The fence will create a protected nursery that allows native wildlife to thrive without the threat of introduced predator mammal species. But from behind the fence, the wildlife will spread out across the region in a halo that other community groups are already doing trapping initiatives and other forms of traditional pest control to keep the pest numbers down. But today we've proved the doubters wrong. This project's got legs. We're moving forward into the future. Pest-proof fence construction will start in the month of October, and we hope it to conclude in April of 2016 so that then we can open the following summer as a visitor attraction.
I think it's absolutely wonderful that we can have a safe place for the Indigenous species of New Zealand to live and prosper and not be hammered all the time by pests that just eat all their babies all the time. So I think it's fantastic, and we're on our way to making this just a wonderful, wonderful place for the birds and other things of New Zealand.
We've had a great lunch, and we used some things from our garden to make pumpkin soup and some bread and some cakes that had green icing, and if you made a donation on this fence post and you got to write your name, you could have some green lunch.
We were aiming to raise $100 for one fence post, but we got so many contributions that we actually managed to get 2 fence posts.
Wow.